Hey, good evening, everyone, and happy Sunday night. Welcome to Unlock the Middle's Navigating Leadership. Tonight is number 31. We are really coming together as a group, looking to get better each and every week, and we got a great cohort of guests coming in from all around the country. My name is Dean Packard, and I'm the principal of Charlton Middle School in Charlton, Massachusetts, and I've got a great cast tonight. We're going to go around the room, but I'm going to quickly kick it over to my co-host tonight, Chris Starcheski, who can't be with us again tonight because family first. We always say that. He's out coaching his little son with baseball, doing a great thing there, and I think that's fantastic. But his heart's with us, and he wants you guys all to know that. But I'm going to kick it over to Josh Tobar, my friend from Texas. Josh, how are you tonight? Great to see you, my friend.
And Josh, hey, thanks, Steve. Nice to see everybody here. Brand new kid. Huh?
I thought you were frozen for a second, man, just like the movie.
Okay. Hey, thank you, Dean. Welcome to everybody. Welcome to everybody, our brand new members there, Anthony and Nick. But right now, I'm in my office getting ready to put on the grind. We started tomorrow in our district, so we're setting up our PDs for tomorrow, making sure that attention to detail is there. But you know what? I've had a great last couple of days, making sure that we bring back all our members. And you know what? We want to hear from everybody that's viewing us. So please make sure that you share this. If you're on Twitter, if you're on YouTube, on Facebook, share it and let everyone know, because today's topic is something that's relevant to all of us that are in the middle of starting the school year without the team members, especially after COVID. And you know what? There's a lot of variables happening right now. It's affecting a lot of us. And if you want the chair in the future, pick up the knowledge from all of us, because you know what? We're going through it right now. But you know what? That's enough about me. Spike, how are you doing, Spike?
I'm doing great tonight. Thank you for having me again. My name is Spike Cook. I'm principal at Lakeside Middle School. I'm very interested about this topic because I'm living it right now.
Absolutely. Let's go down to Joe. Up to Joe. Joe, how are you? Good to see you again, my friend.
Good, man. Great to be back, guys. Just recharging the batteries. We got a couple weeks before the teachers come in, but I don't know about you guys. As you know, we always try to get the school open a week or so earlier just so they can come in and do their thing. But we don't give them any keys. We just open the door for them.
Probably the right thing to do. No doubt about that. Kick it down to AJ. Good to see you, my friend.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Must be Sunday night. Love doing this stuff. Good to see you. Enjoying summer. I mean, July is right around the corner, so it's kind of creeping up little by little. We're getting there to September and ready for a great start, though.
Well, we definitely have New Jersey covered tonight. There's no doubt about that. We're going to kick it up to Nick. Nick, welcome to the roundtable tonight. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're a principal, and just a little bit about you and your school.
Sure. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm really excited about this. I'm glad AJ is my friend and a Yankee partner here. So thank God. I know we don't have too many Yankee fans, so I'm glad he's on here. Nick Edwards, I'm a principal at Smalley School in Boundbrook, New Jersey. We have grades from 3 to 6, about 550 students. This is my 4th year that I'm going to be the principal there. Very excited. Have a new assistant principal coming up this year with the school, with the team. And that's what we like to say, Team Smalley. Very excited to discuss a lot of the questions tonight and topics, and looking forward to, again, learning from you gentlemen and others. So, again, thanks for having me. Very excited.
Welcome to the table, Nick. Let's kick it down to South Florida, a little south of Joe. Anthony, welcome to the table.
Hey, how you guys doing? Good evening. My name is Anthony Turcala, principal of Aventura City of Excellence School. Go by ACES. We're a K-8 school just at the northeast part of Miami-Dade, serving a little over 1,000 students. Going into my 10th year at ACES, 3rd year as principal. And ACES, we say excellence is the expectation, not the exception. And we're really excited to get this school year kicked off. Very relevant topic right now. Glad to learn with you guys, grow with you guys, and everybody tuning in.
Well, Anthony, it's great to have you, man. And every time we bring somebody new into the table, we think it's great because it's a great opportunity for a new idea from somebody else out there in the trenches with us. So everybody, welcome aboard. And let's get right into it tonight. We're all dealing with a hiring issue. There's no doubt that this COVID pandemic has put us into a little bit of a tailspin. We've got teacher stress. We've got teachers coming off of working through the toughest time ever in their careers that I can think of. And now it comes time for us to be hiring for our schools. And we're all facing this shortage of teachers. shortage of applicants for the jobs. And I'm trying to figure out across the board what that looks like for everybody and how we actually are all guiding through it. I know in my school, we use a platform called School Spring. And in School Spring, you'll put your name in if you want to be an applicant for a job. We screen and we look. But man, the numbers aren't there like they used to be. So that's really concerning for me. I'm going to kick it over to Josh to start off because, Josh, you're opening tomorrow and your school needs these bodies right away. We still have 30 days. So we have enough time to kind of work through it. So talk about a little bit about what's happening with your application process, and more importantly, how you're trying to figure this all out.
Well, our process began really in May and June when people began to exit, whether to another campus, whether it be just retire. Some tapped out. They ain't coming back because that was a big punch for a lot of people. And so we have 7 vacancies as of June. And let me tell you, there's no way of filling those because there were other protocols that we had to establish via our central office. And then at the end, this whole district of 50,000 kids started hiring people. So it was first come, first serve, and having them come in. And then we're surrounded in the North Dallas area by other major little cities. Well, for whatever it is, right? And those candidates are being offered stipends based on ESSER funds. So they're using that ESSER money to get them in. So then it's a bidding war right now.
Yep.
And if you don't have a good branding, and that's what I try to do at Memorial, is brand ourselves, because I want this campus to be Google. I want people to come here left and right. I want people to know that when they walk in there, when they put their key in the ignition and they drive there, that they're going to feel appreciated. They're going to have a great working environment. But that takes time to establish that kind of protocol because that is out in the social media world. And so that's my goal. But right now I'm not there because I still have 7 vacancies. 7 vacancies. We start August the 2nd. We hired 2, I think. But then what happens? All of us. We submit a name. Then it takes time because everyone's submitting names. And then after that, they don't pass those checks. You know what I'm talking about. There's certain checks that people don't get passed. And then we hear right before school starts, do you want a choice B? Submit a different name. And you got to go through the whole process again. So welcome to the chair. Any of you future administrators and those of you that are facing it, we're already going to start with long-term subs. The blessing of this is that our campus is small. Now, if it's a 6A school with 2,500 kids and you have 6 vacancies, oh my goodness. You better make sure that you have people supporting those long-term subs that you have day 1, hour 1. So those are the obstacles that we're facing right now. Hey, Joe, what's happening in Florida?
I'm going to be honest with you, Josh. I mean, we're the largest middle school in the school district of Palm Beach County, which is still functioning as a large school district. A lot of school districts beyond Palm Beach County and outside the state of Florida have gone independent. We still function as a very large school district. So when people say, hey, you're one of the top 10 largest school districts in the nation, that's not a bragging point anymore because we're sometimes, that you say that we're too big to be able to function in certain capacities. So we're, really, I'm at a very good school. We got 1,600 kids, grades 6 through 8, Eagles Landing Middle School. It's phenomenal. I'm gonna be honest with you. One of the things that that has proven good for me and worthy for me over the last 5 to 6 years as a principal at Eagles and 4 years before that at elementary was my teachers were my best recruiters. They were the ones who talked about their experience at the school, what it was like, how it was going. And to be honest with you, there are times when I had teachers who were leaving to go into another career or to another school, howbeit, what they're looking for, who actually recommended someone to come in and take on their spot because they did enjoy the experience. They did feel it was a great place to be. And I've been leaning on them heavily. I send a school-wide email to them right when we have a position open and try to take it on from there. But there's no doubt, Josh, just like you talked about with the pandemic coming, I think our universities have experienced almost a 43% decrease in the student enrollment into the education piece itself in terms of that being a degree. And so we're seeing, a definite change in that. Now we for 5 or 6 years, we have really pulled back on the certification piece, and we're allowing those students to come, or the teachers to come in with a temporary certificate. They can apply for it through the state, give them 3 years to take on the gen ed courses and all those things they need to take. But to be quite honest with you, there were times at my school where we averaged 25 to 30 applicants per position. I'm going to be honest with you guys and be upfront. We're lucky when we get to 5 to 10 now, if that, to be quite honest with you, in Florida. And I'm sure you guys will know in South Florida too. I know my boy Turk down there is going to tell you the same thing. We are in the Gold Coast, South Florida, and on the east side, Palm Beach County, Broward County, Dade County. When we say the Gold Coast, that doesn't mean there's gold down here. It means that the cost of living, the differential cost of living and all those other pieces are very high. So it's very difficult to get people to come in because they can take on the salary, they want the position, but where are they going to live? So those are challenges we take on, which is why I rest heavily on my teachers to recruit, because those are already local people. So just definitely feeling it, guys.
Yeah, and one of the things, I'm going to go back for a second, and Josh, you talked about using ESSER funding to entice individuals to come get a job. That's not something that's sustainable within an operating budget. So it's a very slippery slope. I get it. It's like a signing bonus. And I guess there's the freedom to be able, and the luxury to be able to do that to get people in the door. But I find that very interesting. And Joe, you know what? In our state, we're also using emergency certifications at this point in time. You got people that you're looking to hire who don't have a pedigree in a certain content area because you don't have anybody, but they hold a certification. Very scary stuff. Let's kick it down to Spike. Spike, how about you?
I didn't realize this was a nationwide problem, to be honest with you. I mean, sometimes we have like our blinders on, and it's something that, not a lot of people are talking about. And we're facing it, in New Jersey. I've noticed it like over the last few years. I just feel like, I don't know what the statistics are, but just the amount of kids coming out of College of Educations, and we're around 3, big universities. Either the numbers are going down or they're just not choosing to go into the education field. So one of the tabs that I have open on my 700 tabs that are, I don't know if you guys are like that, but I have like 700 tabs open. All summer has been the open position shared Google Doc. And we had to start these type of things because before it was just like, a social studies opening or a language arts opening. Now, I mean, I'm trying to manage 20 different types of positions in my building right now. And it's extremely difficult. Just like everybody else has said, we've had to look at, which we haven't done in decades in New Jersey, is looking at alternate route. That's what they call it here, where you have a bachelor's degree and you can apply and go through an alternate route certification process. That was unheard of the last few years to try to bring a candidate in like that. There are some rounds where we were looking for 3 language arts teachers and we had 4 candidates. I mean, once again, that is just, it's unheard of. And it puts a lot of pressure on our interview committees. And our interview committees are always chosen with the highest standards that we can employ, right? We want to make sure that when we hire, we're getting better. One of the things that I always say in our committees is like, we're not looking for the right fit. If we're looking for the right fit, then we're going to stay the same. We're looking for people who are going to make us better. And that's really difficult when your applicant pool is down so much. So right now, if we were to start tomorrow, which fortunately we are not, I have 7 open positions and I have about 4 positions that I have an asterisk next to because they're considering other opportunities. So just like Josh was saying, we're going to have long-term subs. And we've used the ESSER money this year to increase or to decrease our class sizes, which has been a blessing. I talked about that on either last week or the week before. I'm so very grateful for that. But the flip side of it is trying to find people, to help us with that. So I'm really interested in this topic, and I'm really curious to see what's going on throughout the country. And I'm ready to learn.
Hey, if you guys are listening out there, chime in. Tell us what your districts are doing in regards to this. It's very important for us to be able to get that perspective. Just for a second now, we're going back on long-term subs. It's very difficult to get a highly qualified candidate when you post a job as a long-term sub. People aren't going to leave a current position to go somewhere else and take that risk. And very quickly, I had an adjustment council position. I had 1 person apply, and that's for the last 3 weeks. That's scary. That's absolutely scary when you think about what is out there. So let's go back to the South Florida again. Let's hear a little more about that Golden Coast down there, about the difficulty in hiring. Go ahead, Anthony.
No, well, Joe hit the nail on the head when he started talking about housing prices. I mean, it's just something where you get candidates, especially more than ever. I've seen from New York and other places, people applying to come down here, and we go through the whole conversation. And then once it comes down to it, they're looking in our area and they say, you know what, on that salary, I really just can't afford to move down there. And when we look at using ESSER funds for bonuses, all I'm thinking is, what precedent are we setting? What conversations will happen in the staff lounge, and what are we saying to our current staff when that was never on the table for anyone? So we definitely want to hire the best. What we've been focusing on is yes, we have our high standards and excellence is our expectation, but what can we coach? What can we teach? And we know we can't teach people how to care about kids and how to love kids. So we're looking very closely at that. Do they have a content background? Do they care about kids? Are they passionate? Do they want to grow? And let's get them on some PD. And we have, almost all of our hires are right now voluntarily doing PD. And I'm using ESSER funds to try to get them some bonuses for that, because they're working right now over the summer as they prep for the school year. But yeah, no, the pinch is there. It's very hard. And every principal that's coming up on their opening day is wondering, what are those surprise phone calls that have been waiting all summer? What's coming, right? Because it happens every single year. So what's coming, and what can we be ready for? And can we hire some additional subs now to prepare for that as it comes?
Anthony, very quick question on this, maybe from around the table right here before we go up to Nick next to close this question out. Do you have the authority within your district admin teams to utilize ESSER funds, or is that coming from above you? Because where I sit, I as a principal don't have that authority to be able to utilize those fundings. So just very quickly, yes, hands are tied. I don't have that. So do you guys have that ability? Anybody want to chime in?
Yeah. I'm actually in a charter school, a city-run charter school, which makes it even more flexible in that it's me and the city manager kind of figuring out what's best. So yeah, fortunately, I do have complete control over that, but I still have to keep remembering what is the precedent. What does this communicate? Because how we use this money is what we're telling our staff and our families we care about. So it's definitely important to me that we're doing it in a way that's long-term sustainable.
I love it. Principal Parks, thank you for saying that out there, using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, trying to recruit, trying to get people in the door that we do the same thing as well. Nick, take it back to New Jersey. Some of the things in your building right now that you're seeing.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take a step back just from last year with the pandemic coming. We lost so many teachers just because of retiring. And now we have to fill a building with new teachers during a pandemic. So the stress levels of new teachers, administrators, again, it's my third year. So having those conversations with new teachers or teachers applying is that, what I look for is that, what do you know about our district? What do you know about our school? Yeah. What do you like that we do as a school, as a team? That's what we like to stress at Smalley School. Everything is team. I start my emails with team. So we wanted to get during our interviews to see what kind of candidates we were getting. And, our district does a wonderful job with working with other colleges and universities to get student teachers in. And I've hired already 2 to 3 student teachers because I see them on a daily basis. Every single day, what are they conducting? How are they taking over the class? Are they asking to do other things? Hey, do you need help here? Can I be assistance of here? So you get that relationship. And again, everything comes down to those relationships, learning about that person. And then asking your colleagues and your other staff members, hey, how do you feel about this fit? Do you think she or he is a good fit for this team or your grade level? So hiring last year, we had to hire 6 teachers. And you lose veteran teachers that have done so much for a building, and now you're going to start to get a new group. So having those discussions, what do you like to do? What do you see your future in the classroom or helping out a school and so forth? So now we're just dealing with, just like everyone else, trying to get those teachers, those last minute, a teacher retiring or a teacher moving to another state. After first year, just trying to change something up. So having a short amount of time to fill those those teacher roles is difficult. And then you're always talking, shooting a text. I'll text AJ, hey, you got someone, or I'll text another principal and so forth. Again, networking, just to try to help one another out.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why we do what we do here. It's about becoming better together, because we do need to survive, and we do need to rely on one another to get where we need to be. I love that you talked about the it factor and what you know about the school that you're going into, because that's a huge piece of any interview question, man. Do your homework out there if you're listening. Don't just walk into an interview thinking that people owe you. Go there with something tangible. Throw it down. Show them that you care about the school you're trying to get into. So important. We start talking about universal design, systems in place, know what those systems are all about and why we do what we do. Let's take this another level right now. Let's talk about budgets. And one of the things I know in my school, and I was searching for an AP for quite a while, and I knew that the AP would probably be a little more expensive. So I tried to ensure that when I was hiring, that I was cognizant of the levels of ranges we try to bring people in. And when you see these budgets shrinking within districts, it's really enticing to hire people on that first level right now so you can meet the need. But any good school is going to have a dichotomy of veterans, new people, and you're going to have that nice plush intersection of what the school needs to be successful. But I'll tell you, this year I had to scale it back and find new people coming in at a very low level, and it was hard. It was really, really hard. And they take a lot of mentorship and they take a lot of opportunities. But again, I think that's when you start looking at innovation and how it's different. So why don't we kick it down over to Josh and talk about that for a second?
Well, right now it's about maintaining, just like Jim Collins says, is that sustainable leadership that you need to have, because it's crucial that we pick up what the vision is and that we're all on the same page. And as one of the comments said earlier, it's about the relationships that the people that sit in our chair establish, and they believe in what we're bringing to the table. Because you can't fake the funk. After a couple of weeks, people in the building know what you're all about by actions, not by words, by actions. And if you do have a vision in regards to how, obviously you maintain the district standards, right? Whatever every district has, like a blueprint for how they want the content to be delivered. But then it's about coaching everybody. It's about that ongoing thing. And like you said, Dean, I don't complain ever about those professional coaches that have all these free agents leaving. They got to start back all over again, because they might have the skills, but do they have the will to run that play? That's the thing, and that's where street cred comes in. And so to me right now, it's one of the things that as we start out the school year, what kind of base was established last year in regards to your pedagogy, and that the team is all understanding to bring in those, for myself, those 7 candidates, that they go in there. You know that all the novices don't want to come to us. Even though you say, please come to me, please come to me, please come to me. They won't go to us. They don't want to seem like they're not up to the task. They should, but then it comes again to us as people that sit in our chair, that confidence to come in and open door policy. But your sustainable leadership in each hallway, what are we doing to build that? And those are the thought process every day that I get in the car and put my key in the ignition. What have I done to establish that? So if I'm ill and I'm gone, you know that, hey, COVID ain't gone. I'm sorry, it's not gone, all right? And you know that people are going to be out for a lot of days. So what are we going to do to make sure that we support each other? Do you think we have enough substitutes for all of these vacancies right now around the country? No. Are teachers going to have to cover those classes? Yes. So what are we doing for those relationships, that game plan that we have to make sure that the kids that already have that gap of learning, that we support the teachers to shorten that gap, especially when you have substitute teachers. But in regards to having that built-in design and that built-in vision that you have for your campus, AJ, from your angle as you come in, how do you foresee assisting these novice teachers, or maybe experienced teachers, but they're brand new to your campus, and how you put them into the system?
Yeah, for me, it's again, goes back to relationships, getting to know what they do, getting to know who they are, and being in the classroom as much as possible. I kind of pride myself on the idea of coaching, right? So when we're talking to these new teachers, or we're talking to teachers new to the building, even if they're veterans, I'm coaching them up as to who our students are, what their team is like. Even though I'm still learning, there's things that we can all find the little pieces to help them fit in better and make them feel comfortable. When we look at the hiring process here, like we're struggling in New Jersey all over the place. I don't feel that the colleges are sending us the best candidates. I feel like they're just kind of putting the kids out there and say, okay, you did your student teaching, you're ready to move on now. But going through where I am in Bergen County in the northern part of New Jersey, we have like a discussion board for administrators, and everybody is asking for specific teachers, and everybody's struggling. So if people are just being passed around, nobody wants to leave a job that they're settled in to go to somewhere else right now. Even if it's an administrative position, a regular teaching position, people are not leaving. But when they are there, we're getting the kids, I'm going to say kids because they're right out of college, who are just stepping in there, and their student teaching experience might have been lacking. Their student teaching experience might not have shown them anything. They might have been stuck with a teacher. I think about this all the time. Think about a teacher who is stuck in a way during this pandemic of how they're teaching, in front of a computer, sitting at a desk. I don't know what that looks like. So we're having kids come in who really need this coaching. So for me, I want to bring these kids in, and I want to work with them and really get them the PD they need, work with our instructional coaches, work with their team leaders. They really need to get that base of knowledge to get started, because they're going to struggle otherwise.
Can I just jump on with AJ? A big thing is that these young, new teachers, they are going into different districts, and they may not be able to teach in that district. They may be able to work with those students, the demographics and so forth. Good teachers and so forth. It's not taking away good teachers or their knowledge and so forth. Is that, can you have a discussion or a relationship with an inner city kid instead of a kid not in that area? It really is difficult to get into a district where a lot of these teachers or other candidates and other jobs, I just got to get a job. I got to get a job. I got to get in. But you still have to do your homework. Is this a school, or is this a district where I could fit in? Am I going to have a trouble working with the parents or the community or the students and so forth? So you really have to do your homework just getting out of college as well, because this is your future. I try to tell new teachers, this isn't a job. This is a career, and it's a long time. You got to have your heart and soul into it. So that's a new thing and a troubling thing sometimes that young teachers and students don't look into enough.
Nick, I call it a journey, and I think it's a great way to look at it, because everything happens in 3 to 5 year increments. I've been fortunate in my school where people have been in there 25, 30 years. It's like this is their home. They don't leave. So that speaks volumes about what they do in the culture of a building. But again, in the world, these young people coming up right now, I think there's going to be a lot of migration. They're going to be looking for greener pastures, less loyalty to a system. But that's a whole nother topic we're going to look at here. Joe, to kick it over to you, talk about budget constraints and how that affects your overall hiring.
Well, my budgets are fixed. My hands are tied in so many places. We're a public school, we're a public district, so my budget is broken down. 80% of it comes to me position-based right from the get-go. So there's not really much latitude going in throughout that. What I can hear from you guys, and I'm feeling the same thing in every avenue that everyone's taken on, is that trying to find teachers, and when we do, get them ready. And those are things that we've been used to many times. We've had 30 applicants and hired the wrong one before. We know how this works. But what I can tell you is during these times when you've got, just like we talked about, when people are in search of greener pastures and times are difficult, this is time to set your anchors, hold tight to your values, think outside the box, really get creative with what you have and what expertise on the campus and how you can leverage that instruction. Get out of the first day making sure there's a person in every room, and figure out how to do it a little different, because I can tell you, you can start the race with someone in the lane. Doesn't mean you're going to win it. So make sure you keep those things in mind, and really just think about value at this point in time, that if you're not feeling it, then don't even go for it. Okay. Find the value in what you have in that building. And once everything really comes to a situation where either we as an education institute in the United States have a real understanding of how much teachers need to be compensated, staff, support staff, all of them, so that they can live decently and do what they need to do to take care of themselves and their families. Those are parameters that are outside of our control. So we can't take that on. But what we can control is the quality assurance in our building. We're the QAS, man. We are the team. So let's take that on. And I think that, to me, hold tight. Don't jump at the shiny object in the water. And, really, in all honesty, hold your values very high, because things are going to come in a circle. This is a great, fantastic career to be in. It's all going to come in circles, man. So that's all my advice in terms of post-pandemic is, what is it, Josh? We're jumping into cryptocurrency. Everyone's a stock market champion now. I mean, all these people are diving in to these things they never did before and wondering, hey, this is the quick win. It's not. We know what it takes to be a teacher. It's one of the toughest jobs you can ever imagine, which is why it's on us when we put someone in there who's not capable of taking on the job, because we pulled back a little bit. And sometimes I've done the same thing. I questioned something, I hired them, and then I kicked myself in the butt. Sometimes I question them when I hired them, they did great, but do the best you can with it. That's just my suggestion for hitting this post-pandemic hiring piece. Don't try to fill your building if you don't have the quality, because that's not filling it. That's quantity.
You're spot on when you say that. And one of the things I look at when I hire somebody, I'm going to invest in your future, and I'm going to work really, really hard to make you successful, to make you personally want to do the job at a level you never thought you could do. It's our job to provide those tools for whomever we bring in and provide that collateral support from the colleagues within the building to begin with. So you do all those things. Generally, your new rock star teachers do get in there and hit the ground running. Let's take it down to Principal Turk. Talk a little bit about pick off where Joe left off.
Oh man, Joe hit on so many things there. Thinking about the interview process, I'm very fortunate to have an amazing team with me. And one of my APs is she's so willing to share her honest opinion. And often when it comes to candidates, we're either 100% in line or 100% in a different direction. And I love having that conversation with her and just pushing to understand, okay, why is it you feel this way? Why did you see this? And like Joe said, we don't know. This isn't a science. We can't for sure know the right person is coming in. But when we have that gut feeling, or someone else on that team has that gut feeling, we need to listen to it and figure out what it is that we had. Is it another conversation? Can we get them back in the building and talk to them again? Because once they're in, it's hard to get them out. And we need to make sure we're getting the right people in. And then on top of that, thinking of coaching these people up, and that's what we talked about. This is where I feel these ESSER funds can really help, and they can artificially increase our ability. There's coaching businesses out there who can create the schedule and come in and use Zoom to coach your teachers for you. We know we're stretched for time. Our goal is always to be in the classroom more. Every single year, that's our goal. And then more and more things get piled on, and we realize, we didn't do exactly what we wanted. So whether we can use tutoring programs, PD, coaching programs for our teachers, because we can't keep asking our veterans for more and more and more right after a year where we know some of their colleagues realized it was too much. There is no science. Every single room, every single building is going to be different. But I think it's going to come down to professional development, coaching, and making sure we know that less is more, right? We can't keep adding more. So many technology programs, so many tools, so many resources came at us. What are we cutting? We have to figure out, what are we not going to use? What are we going to use? And let's focus on those things and make sure we're training everybody up on them.
I love it. Spike, kick it over to you.
My daughter was at her mom's all weekend and didn't have any lag issues. Now tonight, all of a sudden she's back, and all of a sudden I'm like, and
somebody's streaming Netflix in your house now.
Yeah, and I'm not. I'm having them. She's not. So anyway, sorry about that.
No
yeah. So just earlier there was a discussion about about candidates looking at the demographics and things like that, and we have a lot of that discussion too, as being a Title I school. We have about 70%, free and reduced lunch. And, and unfortunately what happens is, just like a lot of things in society, there are candidates who will not choose to even, apply at schools that have, high socioeconomic, low socioeconomic, and only go to, to high affluent type areas. So, right off the bat, we realize that, but then we also realize that the candidates that we get are ones that have done the research and have done, the work to want to work with kids who, may not come to them with all the competencies and things like that. So with that said, one of the things that that you're talking about, like as far as sustaining, and we've had some really good hires over the last year and a half, even during the pandemic. Unfortunately, a lot of them haven't even met each other in person, or it's a very big school, and it's tough to know even if they got hired, in person. So one of the things that we talk a lot about is the embedded professional development that we get every day for our teachers. They get 40-minute common planning or PLC time. And there's really nothing that can beat that. With their grade level department colleagues, to sit around and go through the whole regimen of things, the things that they're struggling with, the things they're having successes with, analyzing data, and to sometimes just laughing and talking about like their personal lives. They really build teams. And I think that's one of the most important thing, as a very large school, it's really, really tough to be able to get everybody on the same page, as you can imagine. But what you do is you see these pockets of people who gravitate to each other. So I'm really looking forward to that this year. If we don't have the constraints that are placed upon us, that we can meet in real time. But the downside is that we do our coverages through that period. So they get their prep and they get their lunch. And then when we run into issues, they have to get the coverage. So, and I know a lot of times, and I say, bring it, the teachers will be a little bit, criticizing us and saying, listen, you want us to be collaborative and you want us to work together, but then once, twice a week, I got to go cover this class. And, attendance is a huge thing, even before COVID, so it's something that it helps us out, because then we're not over relying on substitutes, which are extremely difficult to get. And then it's somewhat of a familiar face, but as a lot of times it's just not going to beat the teacher who's there, day in and day out. So we experimented with something this year where we would take, if we had 5-6 classes out, we put them in the auditorium. I thought it was going to be the best idea in the world. I was like, we could just spread them out. Everybody would just be working on their device. It'd be really easy. You could just stick a person or two in there. And we seemed to find out that didn't work either. Our high school tried it as well, and it was just really difficult to manage. So we had to go back to, at the end when we were doing 4 days a week hybrid, we had to go back to the traditional coverages. So I think the way to combat this is the embedded professional development. One thing that I'm going to be doing with all of our new teachers this year, I think we're up to like almost, I think it's like 32% of our teachers right now will be non-tenured, having monthly meetings with them. And in addition to the things that they are doing, just so that they can continue to build that bond, because, they're going to be going through some really unique things and some unique times. And I know it's harder to leave a job when they feel like that the principal, cares about them, and that also that their colleagues care about them as well. So those are a couple of things that I thought of when, I was dealing with this lagging internet here.
Those great leaders get to know every staff member inside and out, know their families, know what makes them tick. And that's the great thing about coaching from leadership. That's one piece of it that gives you that human connection that it doesn't happen everywhere. So kudos to you guys doing that. Nick, kick it up to you. Well, we didn't get a chance to really have you get into this a little bit. So why don't you talk a little bit about the budgetary constraints from your hiring process?
Yeah, I mean, basically with the budget, I came into an administrative role really not knowing anything. I was hired. I was a 4th grade teacher, hired as the assistant principal, and in 3 weeks I became the principal. The principal resigned, took another job, so I was kind of thrown to the wolves. So learning each year, little by little, okay, I could use this money for this, use this money for that. And what I'm looking for right now is that I don't need a lot of money for myself and things in my office and so forth. So I try to put that in my back pocket. Okay, can we do some sort of find someone to come in and speak to our students about social emotional learning, or it's just a fun event, just to have something for my staff. Is there a PLC or a PD I could give to the staff, just to have extra money in the back pocket to give to the staff or the students, I believe is key. And the staff sees that and they appreciate everything with that. We just started a outside classroom with our assistant principal other teachers just decorating, putting it all in this area where teachers can go outside now, use the classroom, utilize the classroom as a learning space, working on gardening, checking out soil, all different types of science stuff, just to get outside and get out of that classroom, especially during this pandemic time of masks on and so far distance away, where they can go outside, have a conversation with their students. We're looking into a greenhouse as well to build on. So continue to work with, try to get grants and so forth. Like Spike, we're Title I school district. So any type of funding is beneficial in any way. But what I'm starting to see is that, in the beginning, you don't spend as much because you don't know what you're allowed to spend on. But then when you look into things and you can see, okay, what's important? What is going to be important that we need this year for the students and for the staff? And then we have discussions as an admin team, but also teachers. What is their wish list? What would you like to see? What would you like to have? And if I could budget a little bit, then I'll work with them.
Let's have some fun with this question here. We talked about hiring. We talked about budget constraints. We talked about being creative with ensuring that we build our staffs the way we need to build them for optimal student success. I'm going to throw this around to all of you for like a 1 minute and 30-second review. What do you say to the applicant who didn't get hired, but you know that person has what it takes to get there? And we don't spend a lot of time on that because we're chasing our tail, bringing in quality people and coaching them up. But there are a lot of good people that just don't get the job. And that doesn't mean that you should be discouraged in education because it's a journey. You should dust yourself off and get back up. We're going to start this off with AJ, the newest member to the leadership realm of the other roundtable. So what would you say to that person who didn't get the job? One of the things I like doing, if I can, I pick up the phone and have a conversation. Hard to do. Some people send an email saying you weren't selected. That human connection, as hard as it is, gets easier when you practice it a few times. But your top 2 or 3 people going for a job should hear from you. They should. And you should be trying to say, build them up. AJ, kicking it to you.
Yeah, I tell them get over it. No,
build a bridge.
Move on. No, I think I'd hit on their strengths. Like tell them what they did well in the interview. Appreciate the time they gave to us, and then I would do my best to find somebody who is actually looking for a candidate like that. For whatever reason, they didn't fit with our school. Whether it was somebody with experience, whether I wouldn't kind of dive into that because nobody wants to hear you didn't have the right experience. I think just again, I don't want to tell them fit. I don't want to tell them experience. I want to tell them the things that they did, and then really, harp on what they can do better in an interview. Even if it was one question they didn't answer the exact way, but talking about that, thank them, and then really find somebody who I know where they would be a dynamic teacher in another building.
Awesome. Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, starting with what I agree with AJ, first thing I do is think, is there somewhere else they can be a fit? I want them in front of students if I can help. And like you guys said, those message boards and chat groups with our fellow principals are full of need right now. But I do tell them where what the reason was, the doubt that I had that I walked away with, and where I think they should focus. And I had an experience with this, 2 years ago that, it just wasn't the perfect fit. I felt like there were some things she could polish up, and ended up in January, we had a teacher leave. I called her back and she said, you know what, I actually was just leaving my school and I'm ready to come. And she still has to train and get ready, but you know what it's like to hire someone in January. So to have someone come on and know that, we have their back, and I can have honest conversations with her now, because I had an honest conversation before she was even on the staff. So yeah, whenever possible, but we know sometimes we're driving our car, like we should call that candidate and we don't get to, but it makes a big difference, Dean. So that's a great thing to bring up.
Spike.
Yeah, I tell them that AJ's hiring, so I just push it off on him. Go up to North Jersey. That's where everything is. It is one of the most difficult things that you have to do, especially if they're a really, really strong second or third candidate. What I like to do for those folks is, from the committee, I need like a sentence or two, because I also don't want it to be all for me. I always say with our committees, if it was just about me, then I wouldn't even invite you here. So I don't make the hiring and firing selection. It is a committee, decision. So I get feedback from the committee, especially for internal candidates, if they're going for a different position or going through something else. And then talk with them about that. The committee said this, the committee said that, because I want it to be, sort of factual, data centered things. And then I almost always, and if I email, if we have a lot of candidates, I'll be open for feedback if they want to give me a call. And you'd be surprised, most people don't, or but when they do, I'm more than happy to help them out with as much as I can, and either suggest them to look at other areas, or as Principal Turk said, that you never know, there might be something else in the future.
Yeah. The fit is always a tough thing to define, because we all look for the fit. And, that sometimes gets into the weeds of, how people have a hard time understanding that. So Nick, kick it over to you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think sometimes people feel intimidated in interviews. And I'd like to make everyone comfortable. I'm not special. I'm a principal. I'm a human being. Okay. At the end of the day, I'm a human being, and I try to be kind. I try to have a good heart. And, I've been in interviews before where, other admins that are just sitting there sometimes don't give the benefit. Yeah, people struggle. We've all been on interviews. I remember my first interview bombed. I was in their shoes. So I like to pick up the phone. I like to say, hey, listen, these are some positives, but these are some things you could check out. Here are some links that helped me gain this knowledge. And I love those teachers that email you saying, what can I improve on? Now, that's like a radar for me, is that, okay, this person gets it. They want to improve. They want to get better. And I love those teachers out there that want to get that information where, okay, I see this opening, I'm applying for this job, or do you know this person? I love picking up the phone and helping. At the end of the day, in this field, we have to help one another and get the right teachers in the buildings. So just taking a step back and sitting back and realizing that we were all in this place before. We were all nervous sitting in front of that principal, that superintendent, the co-teachers and so forth. So we do have to take a seat back and realize that this isn't life or death. This is something we have to help someone get better at, one, for an interview, but two, for leadership and education and teachable practices further down the road.
Love it. Joe.
I think feedback's always going to be incredible, because when you're leaving an interview and you don't know how you did or how it went, it's a tough thing. It really is. You really got to take that in consideration, because it also leaves an impression upon you that can be shared with others and stuff like that. But I'm going to go back to this, man. First and foremost, when I'm interviewing and I'm actively hiring for positions, other than math, I'm advertising for. If I only need a science person, I'm still going to advertise language arts and social studies. Here's why. I want to see every candidate. Yeah, you might be content-based right now, but if you've got with itness, we're going to have a different conversation, and I'm going to get you in this building. So even when you're number 2 in terms of who I want, I can guarantee there's going to be another position, which I know you're going to go take it with the bulls by the horn, and I'm not going to let you leave this building. For those people who I just don't have a position for, I'm going to absolutely call my closest, peers and areas and give them a call and say, you want to make this pickup right now and knock this thing out for 100%. You're always building a reputation so that people know how you work and what you do. And when they know you're the reason why they got another position, they're always going to remember that. They're always going to talk good about you. So it's always an opportunity, as we're trying to hire during this post-pandemic time, to keep all those things in mind. You're trying to fill positions. You don't realize you're actually filling a lot of things about, perception out there on yourself that may be hurting you. Don't change what your laurels are, and don't change what your values are. Treat people with respect. And I guarantee you things are going to come in the right direction, even when it's hurting. Stay strong and stay with your values. And that's just one, piece of advice. Look for with itness. And if you've got something somewhere else, get them in there. They'll make it happen. I promise you.
Love it. Josh, take us home.
Well, just like Nick said, I think that's crucial that people that sit in our chair provide the appropriate atmosphere for the interview, because we know the other side of that chair. And I've been around too many interviews where people that sit in our chair create a negative climate for the candidate. I have no idea why people get off on that, or create a panel of 15 people committees, 15 member committees for a teaching position. Get out of here. I understand about it, getting people involved, but you know how you're making that kid that just got out of college feel? That happened to me a lot of times. And so just like you said, Nick, and it's all interwoven. You provide that. And I always start off by saying, look, when you leave this interview, I don't want you to hit the steering wheel saying I should have said that. So talk to me from your heart, because all of us have done that. We've all gotten into the car. We thought about the question and go, damn it, I should have said that.
Yep.
No. But then you know how that's created? That's created by us, the lead chair, or we designate somebody to be the lead chair, what your vision is for that environment. Not only that, but always smiling, allowing them to want to come back to your school for a second interview, for another position. And I've been very blessed to make sure that I've had that environment where people keep on interviewing for us because they felt treated appropriately during their interview, or what they see on social media that they want to come back and be part of that. So it's very important that when we establish those norms, those protocols, it's about people. Because as we always say, we're not in the science business. We're not in the math business.
Here it comes, baby.
We're not in the history business. We're in the people business. We're in the business. And it's what we create with our vision in our chair to make sure that the year 2021, 2022 is a successful one. And it starts there with interviews.
Josh, thank you very much, man. It's always great to have you finish off with things because your passion is never hidden. It's right out in front of you all the time. I look at it this way. Every student deserves a champion. Every school deserves the best teachers possible to provide that championship cheerleader for those kids. Learning communities deserve the best. And that's why we do what we do. And we vet the process to ensure that we get the person with the it factor. I love that you guys took some time to talk about the person who didn't get the job. We talked about budgets tonight. We talked about time, budgetary constraints. We talked about the vision of a new hire. All those things are so important about where we're going. Listen, if you guys get an opportunity, check out Tuesday nights with AJ in the AP Voice segment. They're rocking it over there. I want to thank all you guys here tonight. Josh, AJ, Spike, Joe, Nick, Anthony, and Chris. If you're listening, we still got your back, brother. We know what you're doing. It's very important out there. So we are looking forward to yet a week off again. We'll be back next Sunday night. Until then, stay strong. Hey, amigo, have a good day tomorrow, my friend. You, my friend, are starting with kids. That's why we do what we do. That's why we bring this all together each Sunday night. So I look forward to seeing you guys again sometime in the near future. Stay on if you could, guys. We're going to end the show right now. And again, we want to thank you all for watching and playing along with us. Unlock the Middle is all about getting better. Have a great week.